Hey folks, it's Babbaginator. We're back in Long Dark. We're currently hanging out in Broken Railroad, trying to make a new life for ourselves here. No, we're not going to stay. That's a lie. We're going to head, soon enough, we'll head out. As it is, we're pretty heavy, so let's figure out what we can do to lighten our load. We do need to take our stuff with us, but I'm done. We've got too much of other stuff. What is too much look like? Let's say we only need one piece of coal on us. Let's say we don't need extra cans. Under 50 now. Always these blizzards. Always. Thanks for the hydrate. Yeah, we're doing well, cracker-wise. Halfway through the challenge, and we already have 5 boxes of crackers. Keep looking for saplings. $63. Now we're at day 28. There you are. That's pretty far range. Wow. They spook from really far away. Oh, weather's changing. Wow, we're actually feeling that. That's 47 minus 7, 54. Yeah, we're actually feeling it. So next time this week, I'll have possession of the new apartment, and so I can start moving stuff over. So that may interrupt streams for maybe one night or 2 nights. I'm gonna try to do some of the moving during the daytime, but some of it will probably happen at night or weekends. But my first goal is to move the new bed frame and bed mattress in, and then do that setup. I'm going to see if I can get a desk in pretty early too. The lead on one, pretty much the same desk that I had back home in Saskatchewan. Pretty cheap IKEA desk where you just unscrew the legs and the whole thing fits in the back of the car. So that would be ideal. Make it easy to move around. Sturdy enough to support 2 monitors.
Jeez, this is cold.
I don't think I noticed it was called Mystery Lake Lodge. I just think of it as Hunting Lodge.
It's so cold. I just want to lay down for a bit.
There we go.
This'll come in handy. Damn, I'm freezing. It's goddamn freezing.
It's cold. There we are,
I
inside.
barely walk with this much gear.
I'm pretty certain there's no guns. Even though we keep finding ammo. Oh, I can make pancakes again. Whew. So I paid my last month's rent for the current place I'm in. I've already paid first month in deposit for the new place I'm moving to. So end of July, I'm feeling pretty tight. I budgeted for it. There's been a plan in place for a few months. But still, it's just like, yeah. Hey, welcome in, nerds. Let's see here. Put down some pancakes. 212.
Daniel.
We got okay. Oh, check this out. What do we see here? Box crackers. Oops. A thing of syrup. We are now at 3, 5, 6 boxes of crackers. Cracker counter increases. Oh, it says 63. That's wrong. It's wow, there was a typo there for a long time. I see what you're saying. 63. We should have a party with 63 crackers. No wonder we're so heavy. Crackers. I mean, do you think we'll ever find a rifle? I don't think so. Good call. I had such a long day today that I can't even say that it was, well, yeah. It's not like I did a ton of stuff. I kind of did, and I kind of didn't. Yeah, it wasn't that I had to go anywhere. It wasn't that I was having a lot of meetings. In fact, I had one meeting that ended up canceling. Oh, I did this one. So I had fewer meetings than I was planning on. Yeah, I got all this covered. But I spent a big chunk of it working on this Python game.
This stuff will come in handy.
And did a whole bunch of expansions on it. Yesterday, it was,
Nobody needs this anymore.
I was busy yesterday with yesterday night, didn't run. I was running a D&D game instead, which was a lot of fun. That one ended actually pretty, it had a really great ending on that one. The party's traveling northward on this long route into the Northlands. And as they're traveling, they come across the remains of the rotten, moss-covered remains of what looks to have been a cart that ran off the ditch. And as they stop and inspect it, they realize that it's not a regular wagon crash, but some big force, blunt force struck it on the side and destroy part of the cart. And the area around the cart is covered in green foliage. Like everything is newly grown all around it. And so, oh no, we've got to boot someone again. Okay, and lock. No bots. Goodbye, bots. Yeah, so they do some investigating, and they're like still puzzling through like what exactly is happening, and they keep traveling. They find like a secret compartment on the cart, and they find one thing, and then they keep traveling. And they go on for another day or so, and they keep seeing on the side of the road, everywhere where there's kind of a clear patch, where the earth is clear, or where there's no rocks or trees. It's kind of an open field area, and even some parts of the road, just like everything is freshly turned over and green. What's going on? And just as the ranger finally makes her nature check and realizes what's going on and yells, "Land shark," as this big tremor runs underneath their cart, they all panic, slam on... Oh, what?
Perfect.
We don't need it. We hate guns. But... the rifle does exist. Okay, so there's that. So in any case, yeah, so they end up in this battle with this land shark. Land shark had burst out of the ground, and because the person in charge driving the cart, that party member, had reacted quickly. Slammed on, pulled back on the reins, the horses stopped, and the land shark bursts out of the ground directly in front of them, expecting to have a mouthful of horse, and gets nothing. And then the battle begins. The bullet does this incredibly cool and brutal move of leaping up into the air and splashing down on the cart, destroying the cart, killing one of the two horses, and sending the rest of the party scattering. Quite dramatic fashion, so they're now basically 2 or 3 days out. And yeah, so there's this battle with the land shark, and the ranger crits on one of her 2 arrow shots, and she's multi-classed into rogue, so she ends up with a little bit of sneak attack bonus plus her horizon walker stuff, and yeah, tub limper. We really don't need, but we now know there is definitely a rifle in the game, so we could say hello. We knew that. There's 15. There you go, your whole box of stuff, and we don't need you. But in any case, yeah, so they deal with the land shark. There's a lot of funny stuff that happens. It really takes them only about 2.5 turns to deal with the land shark. And I think the best part of it, though, was that the party's cleric, who is multi-classed into druid, long story, takes the form of the stars, which is some new path apparently, and and just blasts the bullet with this. I can't remember what exactly, but some sort of a magical attack. I'm unfamiliar with this particular druid circle thing, and in any case, yeah, just ends up blasting and almost killing the land shark. And guess who gets the final blow? Because I had rolled randomly to see where the bullet would appear once the party had scattered. And so I'd rolled, and he had gone in to attack the cleric slash druid, who had a ready to attack for when it reemerged from the ground, as did the archer, or the ranger did. And so all these shots go off at the same time. The land shark does not die, but the horse, the surviving horse, who the cleric slash ranger was, or cleric slash druid was riding, lashes out in panic and in vengeance, rears up and strikes the land shark and rolls a crit, and does exactly enough damage to finish the land shark. And so the killing blow was landed by the horse, which is great. Now everyone loves the horse. And then the two horses were named Shimmer and Darkfire. And Darkfire, with the cooler name, ends up being the one that died. But not to fear, the cleric has plans to resurrect it the next day. So we will bring back Darkfire from the grave, which will make Darkfire even cooler. And I will certainly have some sort of lingering after effect from being brought back from the netherworld, and to make Darkfire even cooler. But yeah, the ranger, having realized that they're going to be short, now they don't have a cart, they're going to be short of mounts, went off and looked for mounts, a lost horse, because there are other carts that had been destroyed, so she figured there'd probably be another horse somewhere out there, and gone wild. But as she searches, she rolls really well and actually discovers not only the horse, but also a giant badger. And since she's a gnome, she's small, she decides she's going to get a giant badger mount, and then works to befriend the giant badger and comes back with the giant badger. And everyone's just like, you're supposed to get the horse. And so, but yeah. So anyways, that was kind of what last night's campaign amounted to, is a lot of silliness. Which is always the best thing, right? Anything else in here that we need? No. Okay, so what do we got here? I want to figure out what we can eat. Well, let's just eat this stuff to get it out of the poisonous carrots. Let's see if we die from poisonous carrots. Yeah, we're way over. Okay, so let's see here. So this is a basically 1.5 versus what? So clearly having two fisherman sweaters would be better. I'd like to fix this. Don't have any more rabbits. Let's just read more. Yeah, 2 hours left. Okay, what else do we eat here? Two. Three. But I have a lot of potatoes to cook up. Hey, Colin.
Come on, little fire.
How's it going?
Come on.
We're doing pretty well.
That didn't work.
Other than Astrid not being able to start fires. Come on, Astrid. You can do this. Not that difficult. It's Friday. End of the week. I somehow made it through today's
Come on,
work.
little fire.
Yeah. Look at all that reclaimed wood. Potatoes. That's what we're going to cook. Fine potatoes. See where we're at. Fire starting, still ways off. Cooking, long ways off. Don't need that. Oh, that didn't work. I interrupted the cooking of the potato and now it has to start over again. Yeah, how's everyone's Friday? Looking forward to this weekend? I am. Trying to save me, aren't you? Save me from my sleepiness. Only so much we can do. Went through Broken Lake, Broken Railroad to Mystery Lake to Coastal to get a rifle and process getting back. Yeah, we just found a rifle, which we're not taking with us because we really don't need any guns. But in theory, we could use it. You want to eat them in real life? Yeah. Wow. They do look really good, aren't they? Yeah. And Broken Railroad's a pretty chill place. If you can survive the maintenance yard and deal with the wolves there, it's pretty chill. There's a wheel up here. Trying to get me back to the living, waking. Okay, let's see. He just played at the bar as well. People say it's a Canadian game about Canada and the cold and wolves and bears.
I'm not going to be able to carry this load for much longer.
A lot of noises. Just noises. The old timer's pretty interested. Yeah, I find like it's really fascinating to see who gets hooked by the game, who's interested in watching it, who's interested in playing it, who has strong opinions about how you should have played it, right? Oh, ran away. Someone's over here.
think I can use this.
Okay. Guy who lives in an RV year-round near Edmonton. 40. Oh, minus 40 for 3 weeks. Yeah, Saskatchewan has usually a 2-week window in January, February, where it just the bottom drops out and we just go into the minus 40s. Absolutely miserable. All that Arctic wind just comes pouring down across the entire province. Ooh, whoa, whoa, whoa. Yeah.
This pack is getting too heavy to carry.
You stay 2 weeks a year in the hotel because it gets so cold. Yeah. Ooh. I don't think we've quite had to do that, but I've definitely had to move from the basement to the upstairs because the basement floor isn't heated, and if it gets too cold, it's just either pile on more blankets or move to one of the upstairs rooms for a couple weeks. Yeah, it's one of those afterthoughts when you think, you know, when we were taking care of the renovation, we probably should have just coughed up the extra money for the water heating or the floor. But radiant heating for the floor probably would have made more sense. Do we need 3? No, we don't. Okay, so we have one hook. We have line. We do have line. Okay, I guess we can make that. What exactly is a Milwaukee heated sweater? Is there like some sort of pouch for like an active heater in it? Or is it that it has like a heat pockets in it or something? Hot pockets? Hot pockets. Yeah, you pull out a hot pocket. It's like pizza. No, not like that hot pocket. Battery operated, okay. You're not gonna be around to worry about a second fire strike here. Really? That's pretty impressive. Even in minus 40 weather. 2 of them on will do the trick. Yeah. Okay, let's see how we're doing here. We're almost down the end of our water. Trying to figure out what to do next. Oh. Okay, let's see here. Oh, I think we're going to take a little 5-minute break for me to stretch. I'll be back shortly. Okay, we're back. Don't forget our own cooking pot. Can. Okay, let's see. Let's do some sharpening here. I think the only article of clothing I have ever owned that had a battery in it was a Christmas present from someone who really didn't understand what I wanted. And I got given, I think I got a Christmas tie one year where it was battery operated singing tie. And here's the catch. I think it was purchased because it actually was a pretty decent looking tie. You know, it was a Christmas tartan. It looked very festive. And I think my parents had not realized it was also a singing tie. And so one of the first things I did was I took the battery out because I didn't want the thing constantly going off. But, yeah. It would not keep me warm, no. But, oh, only one more week. Next week this time, I will have started the process of moving into the new apartment. I will hopefully have built the bed. I think that's my first goal, is to assemble the bed. And then next step would be to track down a desk and a chair. You own better tools than your dad. Did you acquire your tools for personal projects, or do you acquire your tools because some work situation required you to pick up, you needed to fix something, and therefore you had to acquire the right tool to do it, and then over time you just kind of got a lot of them? We really need to get water again, don't we? But we don't have the tools to do that. Where do we leave our tools? Yeah. That's not what we want. Yeah, the first basement renovation attempt that we had, before we got hit by a flood and lost the basement renovation.
Oh, yeah.
But the first time round, we worked with a general contractor who was a family friend, and basically, you know, I contributed labor in that, and he taught me a little bit about like that. You could definitely see like most of the tools he had acquired were over a long period of time of figuring out what was exactly the right tool for the right situation. And there definitely was a right tool for the right for each situation. You know, you could make do with something else. He had definitely done that. He had worked on oil rigs and on ships in the North Atlantic and in other places like that. So he'd been in pretty rough places in the past. But, you know, on land, he definitely wanted to have the right tool for the job. So just CNC and punch press design. Wow. And AutoCAD design. Yeah. Hey, what else do we want to get rid of quickly here? It's time to bite the bullet and consume that. No, let's do... Yeah, my dad was never particularly good with his hands. He had other people, I'd say probably his father. His father was very good. What I know about my grandfather, he very much worked with his hands and was very good at building things. But that did not pass on to most of the family. My father was a brilliant storyteller. That's the thing that I remember. He was so good at telling a compelling story. And when we were growing up as kids, he would make up stories, like improv stories for us. It was great. It was absolutely great. He was so good at just coming up with interesting, silly stories to keep us entertained as kids. we head back? What do we want to do?
I can barely walk with this much gear.
Me, I've had to teach myself a bunch of stuff. Mainly because I realized it would be expensive if I didn't figure out how to fix something. So I've had to do a lot of things like teach myself how to repair... What was it? I replaced the driver's side switch panel for controlling the power windows, which had failed. There was a bad switch in there and it was not working properly, or at least one of the switches. And so I was like, I talked to my sister's ex-husband, who was an auto mechanic, and he had said, you know, to be honest, you could probably do that yourself. So I did. So I went and I researched how to do it, and I bought the parts and got a toolkit for opening up trim so I could get into the open up the whole door. Basically I had to take apart the entire driver's side door, and it was a bit of an education, but yeah, it took the mystery out of it. You know, it's interesting that I was nervous about this, and I'm not nervous at all about like opening up my computer, my desktop, and completely moving stuff around in there. So it's interesting. You know, there are things that we assume are easy just because we're really familiar with doing it. But at some point, it was terrifying to work on a computer too. Yeah. But yeah, so I did the switch for the driver's side. What else did I do? I replaced a side mirror, which was not that difficult. It took less dismantling to get to that. Recently, I took care of the cabin. I mean, this one's one I should have known how to do, but I recently learned how easy it was to replace the cabin filter in my vehicle. It basically, there's a side axis that makes it easy to loosen the parts, and then you just pull down the glove compartment once you've loosened up the bolts, and easy access to the filter. Pull it out. Oh boy, it was awful when I pulled it out. It was so full of leaves, and I swear if I'd left it parked somewhere, there probably would have been a mouse nest inside of it too. Wow, we keep getting these bots coming in. Let's see. Hello, bot. Goodbye, bot. It's like 2 in this session. Dad taught you how to build PCs, video card. First video card was 32 meg. Yeah. Yeah, I've done this multiple times. Open up laptops, open up desktops, to do upgrades, to do repairs. I'm not at the level where, like, I'm not your fully licensed and trained, like, computer tech that can then go through and has, what's it called? A, voltmeter for testing out where there might be shorts. No, I can't do that. I learned how to use a voltmeter years ago when I was in electrical engineering, and I stayed in electrical engineering for about 3.5 years. Electrical and computer engineering for 3.5 years before I was like, you know what? This major is not doing it for me. I'm just not happy. Oh, pretty cool. Yeah. Yeah, my father and I never had those type of projects. My father in addition to being a librarian, was also a family historian, a genealogist. And so some of the projects he had us involved with were more like, I don't know, transcription projects. So like he decided that he had a number of historical documents, like photocopies or scans of historical documents written in the 18th and 19th century. And so it takes a while to translate those, like to take the handwritten form, especially the style of handwriting used in that time period, and to write down sort of the modern English equivalent of that, or to render it in a neater, cleaner, like to type it out, whatever it is, to do the transcript. In any case, what he did is he taught my sister and I, he trained us to read 18th and 19th, 17th, 18th, and 19th century clerk hand, to read handwriting from those time periods that were used for those documents. So, like, I ended up when I was, maybe about 11, 12 years old, learning how, maybe it was 12, 13 years old, learned how to read 19th century, 18th century, and 17th century handwriting. So, like, and then our transcriptions, like the things that we worked on, old wills, property documents, things like that, anything that had a little bit of information about the families my father was researching. He gave us credit for that when he published those articles about that research, which I thought was pretty funny. But yeah, I think for me, now that he's gone, like he passed away at 59 when I was 33, and now I'm 50, you know, so I'm like, at this point, I really do feel like, you know, a lot of things I thought I understood about him, I understand differently now, you know. Yeah, it was ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease, you know, it just, you know, not hereditary at all, just a random freak genetic thing that happens. You know, the body just starts shutting down. There's nothing to be done. And there's no test, you know, you just keep hoping it's something else, right? And they try and they try and try, and then eventually it's like, we've eliminated everything else. This is what it is. But, yeah. But it is, after all. I mean, I'm grateful for the time that I had with my father. I feel like he lived, for having a shorter life, he lived a very full life. He got a lot done. And sometimes I feel a little jealous about that I feel like, I mean, our lives are completely different. It just, that's the reality. Very different, very, very different. But I kind of feel sometimes that, you know, I would have liked to have done some things that he was able to do in his time period. Hello, buddy. How are you doing? More matches. Another knife. But yeah, so it's like, definitely there are things that have happened in my life that made other things possible, right? Like, I definitely would have made different decisions if I had a family to support. It would have been a lot harder to make some of the decisions that I made. You know, I left a career that paid me decent money and made me absolutely miserable to pursue an MFA in creative writing and later a PhD in literature and creative writing. And then worked for a number of years basically as a consultant because the academic market had completely collapsed. And the pandemic didn't help, you know. And then, you know, left, you know, put that on hold to go and you know, pursue this current degree in library, you know, to become a professional librarian. And yet at the same time, I'm still able to carve out time to be involved in the arts and to work in literature and to write. Probably not as much writing as I probably should be doing, but I'm working on the opera. So that's, I kind of say, like, that's my big thing for this 10-year stretch is a bunch of smaller pieces and projects, and then, you know, these operas that I've worked on. So. Yeah. But I think that's the reality is like we always, I think as men especially, we often live in the shadow of our fathers. Like our fathers cast a long shadow over our life. We, even when they're gone, we still find ourselves thinking about and comparing ourselves to them. Either because we want to be like them in some way, or we definitely don't want to be like them. And so it's like a life lived in resistance or rebellion to like what our father was, right? And so it's really hard to escape that. And it's not the worst thing in the world, but the problem is when we become crippled by it, when we become so caught up in comparison and anxiety over like how we're different, and we fail to appreciate sort of what's beautiful and remarkable about the life that we're living and the things we've already accomplished, which are the product of the choices we've made and the circumstances we grew up in, and in some ways were made possible by what our fathers did in many ways. So I think like I definitely would not be the educator, the teacher, the researcher, the writer that I am. I know I wouldn't be that type of person without my father's sacrifices and efforts to create a space at home and to create an attitude within us where we were driven, you know, as kids, we were driven out of our own curiosity to keep learning and not because we simply had to achieve. There was no like pressure to hit certain marks, but rather there was an expectation that if we were interested in something, if we became passionate about something, that we would pursue it, and that, you know, our parents would support us and believe in us, even if it seemed strange that we wanted to do that at that particular point in time. So I think I was very fortunate in that respect. Yeah, I will say I am super excited about this opera that we're working on right now. And I wish I had something I could share, right? We're like the parts that I've had chance to hear have been absolutely gorgeous and amazing. There's a lot of things that are currently being rewritten and new parts being written. And I don't think I'm going to get a chance to hear anything new until this fall. But I'm very much looking forward to the next time I get to hear more. And it's just, it's one of those projects where you feel like this is going to be huge. Like, I feel like it's going to be...
I'm not going to be able to carry this load for much longer.
For me, at least, it feels like this is one of the most significant things I've had a chance to work I feel like the impact that it has on the people that have heard it, even the idea of it, has been so positive and so strong that I think it's going to be something people will talk about, will remember, will be moved by, and come back to. And that's, I mean, obviously that's good for us financially, but just I think as artists, we're just really excited about the fact that this is something really beautiful.
It's dusk, so I can't be far behind.
Yeah, I can't go into too much detail, right? Contracts, right? So I can. You want to hear a little bit? I can't play the music for it, but the I think this has one description of it. Okay, so this is one description. I'll give you two descriptions of the project we're working on. This is the one that's currently on the project page at Beth Morrison Projects, who is our sponsor, patron, funder, right? So it's called Star Singer. The stars are dying one by one, fading into darkness, held back only by the voice of a single star singer, drawing on mythology from Polynesian, various Asian, and Inuit cultures. Star Singer follows Mina, who traverses a frightening world of dying stars and spirits in search of hope and a song. As she walks unknowing in her departed mother's footsteps, she learns about the nature of truth, history, and memory, the irreplaceable loss of knowledge, the value of stories, and the interweaving journeys of mothers and daughters. That's a pretty good description. I think I have a slightly longer version that we shared earlier this year when we did the rehearsals. That's not it. So this is a little bit longer version. Writing, opera. Okay. No, that's not the right one. Where's the one from earlier this year? No, I don't see it. Okay, we probably archived it, so... Yeah, I don't have that right now. Wonder where we put it. Yeah, that's interesting that I can't find it right now. Is this it? Maybe this one is it. Oh, here it is. This is the... I should move it into the right folder so I can find it in the future. Yeah, so anyways... Put this away. Okay. Star Singer is set in a world of night, where the skies are ablaze with stars. Mina is the daughter of the last Star Singer, a line of women who use an ancient song to keep the stars lit and the darkness at bay. Passionate and headstrong, Mina longs to break free from the role her mother wishes to pass on and chooses to leave. Wishes to pass on, and she chooses to leave. After learning of her mother's death, the stars begin to go dark. Mina goes on a journey through the spaces of memory, rage, loneliness, and death, trying to recover her mother's song. At each stage, she encounters spirits who are unable to help her. As the stars fail and the darkness deepens, Mina struggles to find her own path to her mother's song. At its heart, this opera draws on the long tradition of women who preserve culture and memory by passing it on to their daughters, and is inspired by the experience of many immigrants and refugees who lose the language and culture of their parents when they are young, then later in life discover their value and struggle to reclaim what they had already lost. How do we pass on culture and memory? What do we do when the keepers of stories and memory are lost to us? How do we make these things our own? That's kind of a more specific introduction to that. Yeah. What would I do if I had time with my father again? Honestly, there's some really stupid things I wish we had done. When I lived in Los Angeles, my father came to visit one time, and I was busy and lazy, and my father wanted to go and see the Mount Griffith Observatory and the surrounding area. It was kind of a touristy thing to do, and I hadn't been there. And I don't know why I did not make time in my schedule to do that. And I just kind of put it off, and we ended up doing some other things. But I know my father really wanted to go and do that. If I had a chance to go back in time, or had time with him again, it's such a stupid thing, but I would actually want to do that because I felt I let him down at that moment. I really wish I had done that, and I can't go back and change that. And it was like a silly thing. It's not like a big thing. It's just like one of those things in my life that I made a decision, and it was a stupid, selfish decision because I was lazy and did not want to make the effort to drive to Pasadena to go. Well, not even to Pasadena, to drive to see the observatory. And yeah, so I mean that's one of them. But other things would simply be like my father passed away before I finished my first book. The book is ostensibly ends up becoming about him and about his death and about afterwards. So I mean, it is something of an elegy, a memory for him. And I mean, it's weird, but I would love to share the entirety of the book with him. When he was in the hospice, and I was finishing a lot of the poems in the book, it wasn't done yet. I did go pretty much every day when I was there, and I would just read to him the parts that I was working on, because like when he was healthy, that's one of the regular things that I would do is I would send him drafts of things I was proud of to get his feedback, So like, oh, I think this is going to be a really good one. And I'd send him that poem. And sometimes we'd talk on the phone about it. And I miss that. I really do miss that. And he never saw pretty much anything from the second book. And I wish I could have shared that with him. And so those are things I would do. Yeah. So there's always like things that I mean, a lot of times when we're thinking about like what we wish we could do, we had time again. It turns out they're often not big grand things. They're just simple things that we miss. Yeah. Okay, what are we eating today? pancakes.
This pack is getting too heavy to carry.
Woohoo! Oh yeah, I think other things I'd probably do. I'd make him listen to like some of the music that's been written, that's been based on or sets parts of my poetry to music. I think he would get a kick out of it. He was always a big music fan, and I think he would like that. That happened during my PhD, so that was too early to really. I mean, too late. I never, it all happened afterwards. Okay, request for a poem. Let's see if we can deliver something here. Oh, it's actually... How cold is it that we're actually feeling cold? Wow. Wow. That's a storm. Okay. That's a real storm. We can't even sleep out here.
Walk with this much gear.
Okay, we'll have to send Astrid to the... Oh, we never even looked in here? No, I don't want that. Well, if we have revolver cartridges... Does it mean there's a chance we'll actually find a revolver here somewhere too? No worries. This is a safe space, and okay, we'll have to decide what we're going to read here.
This'll come in handy.
Military code. Is that better than this one? It might be. I think it might be.
Well, this stuff will come in handy.
Got the combat pants too. Look at us. Score, score, score. What? Look at all the cool stuff we're getting. We're gonna need those socks for extra cloth. Extra hacksaw.
Perfect.
I just dropped the other one. I'd skipped all the food in here. Okay. Okay, gotta get someplace, lie down, read a poem. because we're nearing that time. Okay, we'll just read the poem. Okay, by special request, we're going to read a poem. Roller would like a poem from Babbage's Dream, so we'll see which one we get. No. No. Float. Did we do float recently? Maybe not. We'll think about that one. Float's a possibility, and we'll see one more. Binary. I think we'll go with the first one, float. Oh, look, I have a bookmark in there. Okay, so this is from my second book of poetry, Babbage's Dream, published by Sundress Publications in 2017. This is a poem that takes its inspiration, as part of a series of poems that take their inspiration from programming terms or programming languages. Okay. Float. A fundamental type used to define numbers with fractional parts. Float. Like a bell, or rather the sound of it opening. A silence that, having told, speaks again, suspended between states of incompleteness. A point traversing a numbered landscape. This country of small infinities is what we do with what remains. Bits of window panes, refracted light, what gathers in the torn leaves from the dimming edge of the red fields grown dark. Say what you will. The body is no more than the moon, a white trouser button in a pool of gasoline, a halo of ash and flame ascending the ladder of night. So this poem, like float, is like for a floating point number. So a number in which it's fractional, it's large, or potentially large or very small. And the key point of it is it's not whole. It is broken into pieces, right? Like that's what we use decimal, or that's what we use, numbers that have decimal points in them, right? Is to capture these things that are incomplete, that are potentially infinite in their incompleteness. And so the poem is something of a meditation on that state, which in a way is us too. We are infinitely incomplete, not whole. And then there's a reference too towards the end, the moon, a white trouser button in a pool, is a reference to, I've mentioned this before, one of my favorite quotes from Kandinsky, the artist Kandinsky, is I think it's actually is it in the start of my first book? It might be. I might have put it in there as the opening epigraph. No, it's not. But basically says everything in the world has a secret soul, even the white trouser button glittering in the puddle underneath the moon. And it's this kind of a paraphrase, but it's just basically all the mundane things, everything that we take for granted is a type of poetry, is a type of beauty that is not recognized in its moment, but really is a reflection of something else. So the moon and the white trouser button are the same, right? One reflects the other. But here, in this case, the poem turns into like a pillar of fire, right? It somehow bursts into flame and ascends into the night. Yeah. Okay. Should I give you guys a bonus one? Maybe we'll give you guys a bonus here. Choose something else. Nah, not that one. That's a sad one. We'll do, you know what we'll do? We'll do something from the, that's not in any of the books. We'll boo this one here. So this is called Searching My Father's Books. Searching my father's books, I find he has traveled lightly, covered much ground, but left no more than the sparest of lines, a scribbled note cribbed from professors past, their stories also ended, the road carrying on. More than wild beasts he leaves a faint trail, a mark here, a path blazed through the trees, his passing almost invisible. What meaning he spies sleeping in between the inked wake of others he has left largely undisturbed, reveals nothing of Macbeth's soul, Hamlet's fear, even what he writes of the great white whale, but cryptic signs, half-phrases, everything buried in the pale depths of what remains unsaid. Why have I held on to these talismans, bound tokens of our shared love of the written word? What literature does, what it holds silent between lines, in the margins scarcely seen, the faint trace of another mind before mine, imperfect, grasping, and yet none the less pressing on, into the dark forest, the life half-journeyed, the river half-forded, and everywhere abounding in ghosts. So that's a poem that took its inspiration from after my father passed away. My sister and I kind of picked through his extensive book collection, right, and tried to decide what we would each take. And I took his copy of Shakespeare, and I took his copy of I think Moby Dick, some of his, and they were from the time when he was these are relics of his time when he was an undergraduate, and so had his marginal notes, like notes made in the margin. And I remember like picking up the books thinking, I'll probably find some really cool things that he'd written down. And in reading them, I realized, no, he was an undergraduate. A lot of times it ranged from like interesting comments on, like pulled from like the professors that were teaching the class, to just really mundane, boring notes that were like half completed. And like, where was he going with that point? What was he going to say? It was like, I don't know. I still don't know, right? And so it just like it's an artifact of a fossil of his mind in that moment, and also a reminder that, you know, the person we saw as an adult, as an older adult, was once young, just like us, and just as confused about what they wanted to learn, what they wanted to what they could understand out of this, what they hoped to leave behind. And so, you know, it's one of the reasons why I love used books, is because of those accidental finds in the margins of someone struggling through something, trying to piece it together, and just seeing another human mind working through the same language, working through the same story. Helps me feel like the world is smaller, right? Is that we're together. But yeah, we're gonna wrap up. Yeah, so we'll do, that's our last one for tonight, our 2 poems. We did an extra poem. And yeah, I think what we'll do here is we will, okay, what we got here? Come back. Oh, that's not what I want. I want this one. There we go. You paid for both. Okay, you got both. So let's see what we can do here. We still need to get Astrid through the night at least. Well, I guess technically we're through the night. We just need to decide how we're going to gear up next. Because it looks like this is a better deal, right? So that's 2 kilos. This is also 2 kilos, but it's a better 348. Yeah. In fact, yeah, it's still better. So, but we don't need this one now, so we can drop that one. And we just picked up, amazingly, second set of wool long johns. Remarkable. And combat pants. We're at 31 now. Look at us. We are so ready for the far territory now. We'll drop that one. We still don't have any more. We don't have another pair of wool socks yet, so. Okay. Stuff that. We are so ready for this. 32, folks. We are at 32. We'd like to get a rabbit hat. We'd like to fix these guys. We need more rabbits. Okay, so yeah, we're getting close to wrap-up time. What are we eating? Peanut butter. Get that. In our belly, peanut butter.
I'm not going to be able to carry this load for much longer.
Oh, we missed this one. Nothing. Okay, so yeah, I think maybe we'll get ready to raid here soon. $32. Yeah, we're solidly protected here. No bear coat, but pretty impressive. Well, lighter than bear coat, so that's definitely working for us. How are we doing for bandages? Still got 2. We got 3. These guys. Yep, it's game time to take nappers. Okay, we're just gonna boil some more water. We just took the last of this, so take the charcoal too. Okay. Is accelerant. Get out of the way. Okay. We're past the 2-hour mark, which is when we usually wrap up, so... Anything else we need? Mm-hmm. 6 crackers. Okay. Yeah, 6, not 63. We fixed that, so... Okay. Fully rested. Let's update our time. How are we doing? We are on day 32, so we made it 4 days tonight. It's about average. We've been doing about 4 or 5 days to stream. So 32. Where are we at in terms of rabbits? Terrible shooting accuracy this time around. It's not our usual. see. Yeah, nothing else. We've killed no deer. We've killed rabbits and ptarmigans. That's basically all that. Been collecting a variety of ailments. No dysentery, don't want that one. Let's avoid infection as well. Blood loss, scurvy, cabin fever, parasites, frostbite. Yeah, let's avoid these. Hey, thanks for the follow, Loki. Astrid does wish she had found 63. Yeah, so we're gonna wrap up here for the night. Next time, I think we're at a stage where we're ready to move on. So we're going to start working our way into far territory.
It's getting too heavy to carry.
Okay, so this is where we're ending, day 32. We have to make it to Sundered Pass by day 50. That's our goal. And pretty much we've got everything else done at this point in terms of our challenge. We've got our bow crafted with our arrows forged. We don't have a lot of arrows, but we have some. Yeah, let's hope there's no timber wolves. As if that would happen, yeah. We decided we're not taking the rifle with us, but we did find the rifle. Oh, I guess that means that we probably could say, yeah. We'll update that next time. That we know that there's a rifle in the game now, so we have confirmed that. So, okay, so where shall we go? Where do we go now? Where do we go now? Okay, so currently we've got Trekkie, Deadpool, Speckle, Just Cryogen, Jexter, and more people I don't know. So let's see, Speckle is, we visited Speckle before. What is Deadpool doing? So I'm kind of curious what Deadpool is doing tonight. I can't really tell from the stream title. Some sort of mapping? Alright. Doing something, but it's been a couple streams since we visited Deadpool, so let's do Deadpool. Okay, we're going off to visit Deadpool. Thank you all for hanging out with me tonight. Thank you for just a great conversation about poetry, about remembering those who have gone on before us, who we miss, as well as what it means to keep on going. So, just like the Long Dark, we just keep on going one day at a time, move forward. And we'll be back again tomorrow night, I believe. So, see you then. Okay, take care, folks. We'll see you on the other side of the raid, visiting Deadpool.